I have the privilege of being joined by Steve to just talk about Helsmiths. I'm on my journey to figure out how Helsmiths work and how to get better with them. And by better with them, I mean better at beating them. But of course, thanks to all my patrons, Wybarian and Baron of Dice. If you want to check out my guest's YouTube page, it's Forged by Failure at Average Helsmith. So yeah, I mean, like lots of shorts here, lots of stuff going on. So if you play Helsmiths or you want to know about Helsmiths, I think this is your go-to guy. So we're gonna give him a call and we're gonna have a little chat. And I hope to learn a lot here, and I hope you do as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is to get like what I'm using StreamYard right now, but I'm not sure what the good options are out there.
I have never used that myself, but hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and teach me a little bit about Helsmiths, because
No worries.
So here's kind of where I'm at right now with like understanding this army and how it works, is that it doesn't really have any tricks, right?
Correct.
Like
you are correct.
So like from my perspective, when I'm trying to relay to my audience how to play against it and how to win versus it, I'm hitting a wall where it's like, oh, just don't let them shoot you.
There's a few more like intricate things. So yeah, I could definitely talk to like, aside from like go be obscured if you can, what to watch out for from like what I would try and do with my shooting sequence, because it's not that we don't have tricks, it's that we have situational tricks that depend on dice rolls and 3-ups and can actually impact double turns. Like we can screw up someone's double turn pretty good.
Right. Can you give me an example?
So for example, the Tormentor Bombard, the War Scroll, even without a demonic PowerPoint on it, whatever it hits is a target. After it shoots, you roll a dice, and on a 3-up, the target can't use commands until the start of your next turn. But for every PowerPoint you give it, it can pick another target within 6 of that original target. So you have a couple things kind of clustered around that are kind of coming at you, and you're like, if this is if I get doubled, this is not going to go well. You use the Tormentor Bombard to kind of lay down a couple no commands, and the no commands is, as per the game, things that you pay a CP for. So like Catacross, you can turn off the +1 save.
Yeah, because there's good commands, right? Like you said, like besides like the standard ones, right?
Yeah, 100%. So
yeah,
the Tormentor Bombard's one of the key ones I find for in terms of our tricks. I guess you'd say it's not really a trick; it is on the War Scroll. We can turn off commands. The shooting can hand out Strike Last, which can be somewhat impactful. So if you're going in, like if you, as a Helsmith player, if I want to commit something to combat, when really the only things I commit to combat are the Bull Centaurs, sometimes the cohort, so the infantry dudes on foot, or a Demon Smith on Taurus or Urktar, the big guy on the bull.
Yeah,
I don't really run the mechanical bull, the Dominator engines that much, but that's another option you can put into combat. So the Infernal Razors with Blunderbuss, when they shoot, their ability is they roll a dice and they add up models that they destroyed, and I believe it's on a 6. A sec, I'll look it up here, make sure. Yeah, you add the number of models that you were slain by the attacks from this unit, and if the result is a 6, the target is Strike Last.
Yeah,
so that's kind of going.
That's the shooting one, right? The crossbows.
Yeah. The good shooting. So they can turn into Strike Last, so it can help turn a combat. For example, playing into Gits and Fanatics with the Strike First, you can try and mitigate that into a normal and get the Bull Centaurs into them. So there's ways. Strike Last is one thing. Already talked about the turn off commands. We can splash mortals. It doesn't really come up that much, except for I've had it come up where I can, touch a character for a mortal or two with one of my War Scrolls from against the other gun. It's the Death Shrieker rocket battery. So aside from like don't get shot, there's a couple things. I don't know what else, I don't know what else you want to
Cookish.
like, or how you want to focus it. Because I definitely can give you scenarios. I can go through war scrolls. It doesn't matter to me. Plenty of options.
Well, like normally, so like every single army has a like obviously like in Age of Sigmar, there's way too much information for any single person to be able to
Hmm.
hold it all in their head, right? Like it obviously. So
Yep.
the thing usually that I try to think about is like what are things in the army that if I don't play around, it's going to like cripple me and really hurt me, right? So or things, and that's sort of what I meant when I said like gotchas. It's like in my head I have this plan of what I'm gonna do, but then I run into something where my opponent's like, well, no, actually your plan is totally changed, or something that you didn't foresee happening is now happening and it's impactful. So a good example is like, I'm not sure how, like Skaven's 3 claw steps ahead. It's like
I'm
you
familiar with it.
yeah, you always have to have that in mind, right? Or like if
Yep.
I'm playing in it's sort of like the list of things that you would tell your opponent if you sat down and they were like, hey, can you just give me like 2 or 3 things I need to look out for? It's like, it doesn't matter that you can give some infantry unit +1 to hit. That's not something
No,
that's
yeah.
going to impact the
Yeah.
decision making of your opponent,
Yep.
right? It's like, oh yeah, like, so as a Cruel Boys player, it's like, I have a board wide strike last. The monster killers are going to shut off rampages and make monsters strike last. And, like, those are like the two, everything deals crit mortals.
Yep.
Right? That's kind of, I have a run in charge. This unit here has a run in charge aura. So let's play. So from a like, and that's why at the beginning I was saying that I was running into a wall with Helsmiths, because it's like, well, there's like 3 things.
Yeah, that's big. So I guess I'll go. What I'll do is I'll go over what I tell opponents at the start of a game.
Sure,
What
that's
I
an
deem,
excellent
like,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. With that in mind and what you're looking for there, I'll go over like my preamble, I guess, when I introduce the army, because practically over the last 2 months, every game I've played is like I've never played them before. Please tell me what they do.
Yeah, no kidding.
So the thing with Helsmiths is, yes, each war scroll can be like buffed up. So every war scroll is basically a bland generic war scroll and its start point without the demonic power points. But when you add them in, yes, that gives it the flavor and lets it do extra things. So what I tell the opponent is, I'll go through all the war scrolls, and in a second here, I'll run through the key ones, like the key ones that take points that can impact a game. But what I tell the opponent to focus on when I go through my turns is that I can only hand out a certain number of points, right? And it's an economy. So at the start of my turn, I'll generate X number of points based on what I've desolated for terrain or objectives, and I'll put them on there. And then I'll kind of remind the opponent what it does too. So there's only 2 or 3 things that are powered, per se, with the points. And as long as the Helsmith player is letting you know what that does, or you understand what those key points are going to do, it will help you shape your game plan. But other than that, like you said, it's a very fair army from that perspective. There's not a lot of gotchas. But that being said, I'll run through some of the kind of the starting points of it. So the first thing I would offer is that competitively, what I've seen over the last couple weeks since the Scourge of Iran update came out, a lot of the battle formations that are being run is the battle formations called industrial polluters. And what that one does is every war machine in the army, so the artillery pieces, the dominator engines, so the big bulls, or the guys on bulls, those are war machines too, so Uruk-Tar, the Demon Smith on Taurus. Any infantry or cavalry that's wholly within 9 of it is -1 to shooting. Just an aura, a passive aura. So that's the key thing to know. From a destruction perspective, not totally impactful, but for other armies, yes. And then going into the war scrolls themselves. So the key war scrolls you're going to see. The first one, a very popular pick, and it's in like the Wohammer top 10 of the scrolls, is the Uruk-Tar, the first Demon Smith.
Yes.
War scroll. So I could definitely walk through him pretty quick here. So is he game changing? Yes and no. From a Helsmith perspective, and keeping track of what your opponent, like the Helsmith opponent, is doing, his big shtick, kind of like you talk about 3 claw steps ahead, is he can move the power points up to 3 in your hero phase.
In your opponent's hero phase.
Exactly. So if I'm the Helsmith player, I take my turn, I put my demonic power points down, I give them to, say, the infantry to give them a ward, and we plus up the rend on some shooting. And then it flips to your turn. And in your hero phase, when it flips to my abilities in your hero phase, what Uruk-Tar can do is he can take up to 3 power points any combination. So it doesn't have to be just from one unit. He can pick from anything totally within 18 inches and allocate them to any other Helsmith unit, not a Hobgrat. Hobgrats can't take them.
Yeah, they're just exempt.
18.
So Hobgrats are basically just exempt from all the rules, right? Is essentially how it is. They're not really Helsmiths. They're lackeys, and they don't really. They're just they're trash. They're screens, right?
They go out. They're good. They're a key unit in that they will pre-game scout in step 3 deployment, touch an objective, have that objective be yours, desolate the objective early, start your economy off. They can also benefit from some of the prayers, but for the points, the power points, they have nothing to do with them. But Urktar, he'll move those points around, and that can kind of impact how you play the game, because if you get focused on, okay, I've got my opponent, who's the Helsmith player. He's got a ward over here and some rend over here, but on the other side of midboard, so say you're on a flank and on the midboard objective, there's nothing, there's no points. Well, Urktar can flip those over there and like enable a covering fire to be more effective, or help something get a ward. So that's one thing to watch out from. And the other thing to watch out from Urktar is that he has a rampage that's similar to the Scourge guy ran at Braxia one. So when he charges, he inflicts D3, rolls 2d6, and then he kick flips. He just has to end in combat. So he can get over combat, he can find a hero from Master of the Pass, he can move around castles. So that's kind of his two big sticks there. You're going to see him in most of this. It's very strong.
From what I understand, he sort of does a little bit of everything. He's one of those centerpiece named guys who's just like pretty fighty, pretty survivable, pretty fast, interacts with the core mechanic. Yeah.
100%.
Mobile.
Why you see him a lot is that he can help people with their economy, like moving stuff around. He is damage 4 on the charge. Force 2's rend 2. So like he is fighty. Swingy, as you can appreciate, hits on force. And when he gets the power points, he gets himself a 1 power point 6 up ward, 2 power points a 5 up ward, plus 1 to cast, and then 3 power points is 5 up ward, 4 up ward against spells or mortals from abilities, and then a plus 2 to cast is the key thing. So you'll often see people give him 3 and then try and counter cast something big off of him, because he's actually effectively a plus 1 in the counter cast.
Is there, so like you get these power points either by using a command to get some early, and then in your hero phase you have to control objectives or terrain features, and those units can't be in combat, right? They have to be like out of combat, just hanging out. If a unit dies with demonic power points, are the points gone?
They're gone for that turn until they regen at the start of my next turn. So yeah, if you hit something with power points, then it just kind of fades away,
because it comes because once a terrain or a objective is desolated, it stays desolated the rest of the game. There's no way of interacting with it.
There's no interaction for it.
So if you wanted to slow down a Helsmiths player, you pin them.
Correct. You pin them. You don't let them. So to stop my economy from running, if you're really concerned about my point production, I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't commit forces to stop my economy from running until maybe like round 3 or 4. But rounds 1 and 2, you're only going to be like 1 to 2, because we have that, like you mentioned, we have a CP, and I can spend a CP in any hero phase once per turn. Any hero phase, pick a friendly unit that doesn't have power points. If I have 3 or less on the board, I can put 2 on that unit, or if I have 3 or more. More than 3, I give 1. So it's not worth it to throw stuff in and pin right away, in my opinion, because they're just going to default to using the CP. And as a player, I already plan to use that CP. You're slowing it a bit, but I don't think the points are that impactful in the early game, unless you have something you really want to tie up into combat. I wouldn't put a game plan on it. But yes, there is the way to stop it from desolating is, say you have a chaff screen that's going to do no damage to you, so those Hobgrots, or a decimated like infantry squad that's down a couple models, and it's about to contest an objective or terrain feature. Yeah, by all means, if you tie them up, I can't use that to desolate that terrain feature objective the next turn.
So I'm having a little bit of a hard time understanding this. Um,
Mhm.
like, so for example, are you? I sent you a TTS actually, an invite on Discord too, if you wanted
Oh,
to.
there it is. Sorry, I just saw it now.
No, you're good.
Oh,
I was just sending it
I'll
out.
pop it open. Yep.
Just sending it out early. But like, let's say for example that I was running a list that had like all cavalry, like a really aggressive
Hmm.
sort of fighty list. Um, I feel like if I pin you in your deployment zone, you're just not going to be able to. It's going to limit you because, like you said, it's going to limit you in rounds 3 or 4 with generating these tokens. But on round 1 and 2, you'll probably still be able to find places to get these tokens. But I feel like
Yeah.
pinning you in round 1 and 2 is going to prevent you're having big rounds 3 or 4. But you also have to be in combat. Or you can't be in combat.
It can't be in combat. Yeah,
So
correct.
if you go first and you're like, oh, like I do this, and then it's like, cool, I pin the other side, right?
Mhm.
Then it's like I can slow you down. I guess I force you to use CP.
Yeah. I mean, as a Helsmith player, getting pinned is like my primary goal to not let me have happen in deployment. So a lot of like my deployment, a lot of people's deployment as Helsmith players is putting the screens out. I'd say it's very rare to have a player that doesn't have hubgrots or something that's screened. And then we live and die on the covering fire on the way in as well.
Right. So
Yeah,
so what I'm hearing you say is that because you know that you can't, that being pinned is so bad for you, you're gonna just deploy
Yeah,
and set up in such a way that that's not really gonna.
it's
I
very
can't.
rare. Exactly.
Right. I
Just
see.
a sec, I'm in TTS there. I'll pick a color, and yeah, I can show it to you on the board there as well. Because the thing is, with a lot of our war scrolls, we outrange a lot of other things. So even our not great, well, great, but like not great unless you put demonic power points on them. Very squishy infantry shooting. So the blunderbusses, the range is 18, and the Tormentor Bombard, the range is 30, and the rockets, the range is 24. So and they move 4. Everything moves 4 in the army. So there is
slow.
You know, it's slow, but there's a 28 range threat protection. So am I gonna get you turn 1 in your deployment zone? Probably not. But will I have the whole midboard range if you want to step on the midboard? Absolutely. And that's usually what people deploy into. I'll pull up a list here.
What else in the army besides shooting is a hammer?
The centaurs. The centaurs are the main hammers, so the bulls.
The bull centaurs.
The bull centaurs, yeah. Here.
Charge +1 damage, crit mortals.
Yeah, and I'll
bonuses to charge.
Yeah.
And then like impact mortals. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll often see the bull centaurs being used as the one big hammer to deal the damage that the rest of the army can't do reliably. So if I need like a huge centerpiece taken out, or something that's a reinforced brick of infantry that's like 40 wounds or 30 wounds with a ward on it, that's where the bull centaurs will go in and deal with it. While they can whiff, they're 4 attacks each. They're, as you alluded to, they're damage 3 on the charge, crit mortals, and on 25 attacks, usually I'm going to get about 9 mortals, and sometimes it spikes up, and then they're going to go through and do the rest of their damage. So they are. The impact mortals are relevant as well. I found actually I just played into a Gits list this weekend at an RTT. Ton of fanatics, right? So I'd run the bull centaurs into them. I give them 3 power points. I'd roll 6 dice, and I do about 4 mortal wounds. So I get rid of 4 fanatics before they strike first back into me.
Yeah, like
if he's like staying. Yeah, it's just like stuff like that. So they are a big hammer. So talking about like the hammer war scrolls, the most damage in the army, bar none, is the bull centaurs. The second largest damage, in my opinion, comes from the Deathsheeker rocket battery. However, it's swinging, because if it goes into monster or war machine, it's rend 3 can set its damage to flat 5. 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, you're gonna all out attack it, so it'll be 3s and 2s. And then rend 3 damage 5 flat. So that's our other big shooting, and then there is other chip shooting. Let's see here. Pull this out, pull out some hobgrots. We got hobgrots in here. Yeah. I'll get some Hobgrots out as well. But that's the main thing people run for hammers is the bulls. Your Uruk-Tar, like we talked about, he can be a hammer in a pinch. So he does his rampage. He does four damage flat on the charge. There is option spaces there, but it's not preferred. Like you want to keep him around as your caster. You want him to do stuff. Okay, so here we go.
So is this like your sort of list right now, like your standard list that you're running?
Yeah, so it's a list I ran on the weekend, except for the Hobgrots. So I kind of played fast and loose with the screens and used the threat of covering fire and a big brick of infantry for the screen. There was no Hobgrots on it, but I just put the Hobgrots here just to talk about them. But this is what I'm running now. It's not the normal list, I'll tell you. I play edge cases with it because I try and find. Right now, I'm in the experimental phase of trying to find efficiencies with the army. The main list right now that I would say is the most successful has a variant of 2 of these. So there's 2 of the reinforced bricks. There'll be 1 brick of bull centaurs. There'll be 1 tormentor, 1 death shrieker. There'll be 1 flame hurlers, or not flame hurlers, blunderbuss, my apologies.
And so the blunderbusts are the ones that prevent commands, right?
It's this one right here is the tormentor.
What's the commands. Oh no, the blunderbuss, so what's their thing again? Is it just damage? Rend. Yeah, they just get more damage.
So it's every point is a point of rend, so every demon point's a point of rend. And then that's the one that we talked about that has the roll. So however many models they kill, they roll a dice, they add the models to it, and then they hand out the strike last.
Right, their strike last, right.
Yeah, and I'll pull out Uruk-Tar here.
Yeah, it's like one of the tricks, right? Is this strike last? These shooters.
Yeah, so like that's of our like very few tricks, that would be the one trick that has play that people use. And then I'll pull Uruk-Tar out here. And then Uruk-Tar goes in that list there. And where's a Demon Smith? Okay. So these right here are pretty much the core units you will see lists built around. It'll be some sort of variation on a theme. And, numbers may vary, but I think the most successful ones, like I do kind of a list review and list watch of what's successful. A lot of successful lists have 2 bricks of reinforced infantry. These blade cohort guys here. They auto run 4, which doesn't seem like a lot, but
it's nice
when you only move 4.
Yeah,
having a guaranteed 8 to get onto objective at the start of the game is quite nice. The thing with them for their power points is they get a 6-up ward for 1, a 5-up ward for 2, and then that 5-up and 4-up against spells and abilities. So they can actually sit on a point and be pretty tanky. So you'll see most lists have a couple of these. You're going to have to chew through this. However, they're a 3-up save, so very good save, but they're only 1 wound each. So if you fail a couple key wounds on a big damage, that whole brick's going to evaporate. We talked about the Hobgrots. These are the guys that go forward and get a 5-inch move. We talked about Uruk-Tar. Other characters that we have that kind of power up the army. War Despot. A lot of people don't play him. I play him. I've seen a lot of successful lists playing him. What he does is, there's 2 versions. There's a normal version, there's a Scourge of Ghyran version. I've played with the Scourge of Ghyran version, most people don't. And if you do run into the Scourge of Ghyran version, your opponent really needs to talk you through it. And I can talk you through it right now if you want, because it is like very weird. And it does have a trick ability to it, the Scourge one. But it's 140 points and most people don't run it. But the Scourge of Ghyran version of this War Despot here, what it does is it trades in control. It's also 50 points more than the regular one, so it's 140 vice 90. But what it can do is, in the movement phase, it can point at an enemy unit within 12, visible within 12, do a bad D3 roll to it, do some mortals to it, but it can also pick a Helsmith infantry unit that's in combat with that unit, and retreat and shoot, retreat and charge. So we can pull the guns out of combat and shoot, or we can pull this brick out and reposition on a charge. That is one decent trick we have, but again, it's very expensive and most people don't run it. The base option on this guy here What he does is he'll his demonic PowerPoint thing is he improves control scores, which is okay.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty
his
mid.
real thing is it's mid. But his real thing is that he chain fights the blade cohorts or spears. So the base infantry, he chain fights them. But not only does he chain fight them, he gives them +1 attack. So they start
Right.
at 2 and they go to 3. So if you get a full brick in, that's 61 attacks off the full brick. 3s and 4s, rend 1 or 2, depending. It's no rend to start off with. Anti tier 1 rend, there's a prayer you can give another rend. So like best case scenario, you rend 2. But there is a prayer you can give them crit mortals. So there's a common play that Helsmith players make where they'll put the prayer for the +1 rend the crit mortals on the big brick, and they'll send them in with the word spot to chain fight and try and fish out a bunch. It's like clan rats fighting. Just try and fish out a bunch of mortals.
Yeah, I mean, like, it still seems to me like they're like you said, it's a super fair army.
Yeah, there's no. I used to play. So before this army, I played Soulblight Gravelords, and the fact that the horses can come back. Well, it's now once per turn army, but they used to come back for every unit end of turn. You could like recur within 12 on the move in the opponent's movement phase. It doesn't have stuff like that in this army. It is very fair Warhammer, and if you are playing it as a Helsmith player, you have to get, as you alluded to, you have to be really good at screening, and you have to make good positioning decisions, and you have to use covering fire and use all the tools at your disposal to do enough damage to whittle your enemy down. Now, for your purposes, playing against the army, honestly, unless you're playing like a top tier player, if you're playing someone at my level, like kind of a 2-1 player, someone who's figuring the army out, if you put pressure points on the army, so like you alluded to, pushing a flank or crushing a flank, or if you leave options where the Helsmith player can make a mistake in positioning, that is one way that the army will crumble. Because what I found in a lot of my games is that either I steadily move along and I'm scoring at a clip of 10 points a turn, maybe 15, maybe I get a 20-point turn here or there, and everything kind of is tickety-boo, and you're like 65 to 50, 55 win at the end, or it all collapses and you only score 20 points. There's no middle ground with this army, I find.
What tactics do you take?
The most common tactics that I take and that I've seen most people take on online lists as well is Master the Pass and Intercept and Recover.
Right.
I've messed around with the other tactics. I have between TTS and real life, I've got about 30 games in with the army, maybe 35, and I've messed around with the other tactics. Scouting, basically borderline impossible.
Yeah,
out of the question, borderline impossible. But if you run a bunch of Hobgrots, yes, but you'll never get Scouting too, because you'll never get in without being touched, because there's no teleport in the army.
Yeah, scouting is basically for like armies that have really cheap throwaway cavalry units that they want to run 4 or 5 or 6 of.
Exactly.
It's only for niche. It's super niche.
Exactly. So I mean, I messed around with scouting when 1-2 games, confirmed it's bad. I just got, that's my nature though, is I've just got to try everything in the book and give it a go, and then see if it works or it doesn't. Scouting doesn't work. Wrathful I find is good, because Wrathful allows you to kind of get out early. So get out, build up a lead, and then try and have them come to you. But the problem with Wrathful is that the mainline list here isn't one that can be used for Wrathful, because you don't want that in combat, you don't want that in combat, and you don't want those guys in combat.
Oh, you don't want your shooting in combat. Yeah,
exactly. So you can do Wrathful in the Bull Centaurs list. There's other lists out there that have more Bull Centaurs and more infantry and kind of forgo the shooting, except for like 1 or 2 pieces. But Wrathful is like a secondary option depending on your build. Attuned is just a flat no. Nope. What else? Which one have I not talked about yet?
So what your army does well against, like your best maps are going to be ones that have fewer objectives, right? Where you can like march into the middle of the board and control 1, control 2. And obviously like 6 objective maps are going to be bad for you just because of the mobility issue.
Yeah, 6 objective maps are bad for me, but I don't find that they're crippling. You're absolutely right in that I would prefer the 4 objective maps to keep all my shooting together, keep things like hammering, put everything in range of something and reliably delete a problem per turn and move on to points and get like the, hold 1, maybe hold 2 for 10 or 8, or correction, like 7 or 8. But I don't find it's totally crippling. With 6 objectives, the last RTT I went to yesterday, I played, Roiling Roots and Surge of Slaughter. And the Surge of Slaughter was against a Gitz army. It was pretty mobile. And it was okay. Because you can, with the infantry and a couple heroes, you can reliably put the infantry off on a flank. You can put these guys behind it so they won't get tagged. They'll covering fire for the infantry or they'll react. And then you put this guy with some other stuff on the flank and really backboard your stuff for your war machines. And you can play it. It's not ideal, like you say, but it's I don't go into a 6 objective mission thinking that this is impossible.
Well, and you only really need 3. If you
Correct.
can hold 3, you're fine.
What I will tend to do is I'll tend to make the triangle on that objectives, right? I'll make the triangle of like I hold mine, I hold like natural expansion to use the term, and then I will make the killing ground on the 3rd if you want to come to it. And like I said, if you let the Helsmith player pursue that game and you let them chip away 7 to 8 points primary and then maybe 2 to 3 battle tactics, and you get to turn 4 or 5 and I have half my resources, it's going to be bad for you. That's the tipping point. You don't want the Helsmiths to get a reliable scoring through turns 1 through 3, and you don't want the resources there by turn 4. So in planning out your go turns against Helsmiths, 2 and 3 is the key time. I mean, it's most of the game is based in 2 and 3 anyways, but do not let them get to turn 4 with the majority of resources, because by then you've probably desolated 6, 7 things, and you got a lot of points to spread around.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like in my head I'm thinking like, because Warhammer is a game of rock paper scissors sometimes. Mm-hmm. So in my head I'm thinking like, okay, so Ironjawz just smash this army. They're resistant to shooting. They're super fast. Awesome. And then Cruel Boys just lose to this because they're super weak to shooting and aren't super fast. It's like we're playing like mirrored like castles kinda, but we both want to receive, but you have better shooting than me. So it's like, okay, like I just sort of like Cruel Boys will lose to shooting pretty badly often.
Yep, and just 1 second here.
It's very interesting. These
1 sec, I got someone out. Good night.
You bet.
Ironjawz, like out of the destruction armies, especially like the Auric forced one, the Auric kind of centric ones, Ironjawz is my toughest matchup. I've played into it a couple times, but as you say, I got to get lucky on my covering fire, and it's got to be the right map where you have to like break out of obscuring before you touch me. But if the opponent has Kragnos or pigs like you just throw beside me, it's a bad day. Like this would be a very big problem for me.
Yeah, everything, almost everything here is on a 3-up save.
Exactly.
Right.
And
it's like, okay,
I'm only gonna have one thing. Like if I put all my points in these guys, sure, they're gonna have Ren 3 or whatever, but you just plan around it. You're like, I'll avoid those 4-inch moving.
But like for example, these this is the Krasog Stampede. It's one of the armies of renown. I think it's the best way to play Ironjawz right now, unfortunately. But the Gore, you get to pick something that has a deployment phase move. So I get to take like Gore Gruntas, assuming I'm 9 inches from center, and just move them into the center of the table, and then move them 9 inches again. Right. So it's like I'm coming right outside of 3 of you. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna spread a line out. Right. It's like I'm gonna tag like everything in your army that is close to you if possible. Right. And from there, it's like, okay, like, good night, right? Like, good luck. Like, even if you clear these 6 pigs, it's like the real threat's the big pigs coming in the back.
Like I see this army here, and I'm like, I wouldn't say auto lose because I never say die, but like
Sure, but on like a 6
it is an
objective map.
uphill. It's
Yeah.
an uphill slog on a 6 objective map because against this as a Helsmith player, you're gonna have to build the level defense. Like, okay, screen 1, you know, screen 2, counter charge, and then like something in the back. But by turn 1, 2, this is all gone. You have no more screens, and you better have effective shooting to even give yourself a chance. And then those guys are in the back, so like
Yeah.
it's not.
And I guess you really hate like movement tricks, like teleports into your back line, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm in combat and then I roll a die and I get to move in the hero phase, stuff like this. Like my against Cruel Boys, I guess, like have you played against Cruel Boys like recently or at all, I guess?
No, not yet, but I've played something with similar like teleport shenanigans. Like I played against a Stormcast 3 or 4 times
Sure.
with the typical like Sentinels one with the Annihilators and the Portal and the Prosecutors like Alpha Striking, and it's just a nightmare. Like anything that can teleport to a flank, honestly, even Skaven with the Knotholes and the Skitter Leaps cause me problems.
Yeah, because it's not that if something comes in your back line, it's like you have a turn to try to shoot it off the table, and if you don't, like if you
Yep.
whiff on your shooting, it's like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is why a lot of my theory of the case is why a lot of the successful lists that you see have a huge infantry backbone because they put the infantry backbone out early on the points, and they just kind of hold on, and they say at least I'll be scoring 1 to 2 primary while I'm trying to run around and deal with threats.
And the Hobgrots have to be set up like this, right?
You can wishbone them.
Right, so you make two triangles at the ends.
You make your little triangles at the ends, yeah. Because at the end of the day, if they get killed,
yeah,
you don't care if you don't care about killing down coherency.
Right.
So like they set up like that. And then honestly, I run them in 20 when I want a big screen, and then I'll do like super duper wishbone and let them just eat it.
Super duper wishbone.
Yeah, there's a super long one, so like double the length of this with a couple on each end there. Because then when you put it out on the board, right, it comes out here, double size. You're like, okay, I can have like now I have my pick of the litter of like what I'm gonna desolate, and it's at least clogging one avenue. Yeah, cut the wishbone there.
Yeah, it's a lot nice long screen.
Yeah, so that's what when I run Hobgrots, I run a 20, like 120. If I'm running Hobgrots, I'll usually run 120 and 110, and the 20 is doing nonsense like this. And then the 10 is running around and being useful somewhere else. Usually a flank, like kind of saying, all right, if you have a teleport shenanigan, it'll come over here. It'll protect the gun line in the back. Be useful that way.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just kill the infantry heroes and kill the hammers before they kill you and get on top of the shooting. Like it's just, like you said, it's just fair Warhammer.
It is. It's 100% fair Warhammer.
It's like there's 2 or 3 kind of tricks, right? Like these bull centaurs, it's like they're gonna have a bonus to charge, right?
Yep.
So
and you're gonna see it, right? Because the Helsmith opponent is gonna put the points on the table. Like you have to mark it somehow. So it's like, yep, there's 3 points there. There's 3 points there, and then as the opponent, just ask, what does that do again? It'll tell you. Make your plan.
the only thing that really gets me, or that I think we haven't talked about, is I think it's one of the artifacts of power, the Scroll of Petrification. That is also one that can really get you, right? That you have to play around. 100%. You have to like remember that it exists.
Yep, it definitely exists, and some people use it. I have played with it. I don't use it on the regular. But what it does is that, I'll pull it up here just so I can get the proper wording, is essentially, so it's any hero phase. So you can do it like, say I'm going to get doubled and I know something key is about to die. And I have the hero with, it has to go on a hero, obviously. So I have the hero with the scroll near what I want to live. So once per battle, any hero phase, pick a friendly Helsmiths and shoot wholly within 12 of the artifact porter to be the target. Rest of the turn, the target has Ward 2. Target cannot use non-passive abilities or be picked to be the target of friendly abilities. And enemy can ignore the target's combat range for moving and charging. and they can ignore the target for purposes of setting up on the battlefield, but they can't be set up on the target. Yeah, obviously you can't set up like directly on the model. And so yeah, it can catch people out. Like I've seen people put it on the bulls because they value that hammer a lot. But the problem is, what I've found when I use it is, yes, whatever I use it on will live, but whatever I'm using it on is not speed bumping the thing that's coming to it. Because you can use it as like a springboard to get in anyways.
Right, I charge it. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I pile in. I think I did that. I've only played against Helsmiths once.
Yeah. So I probably played 5 to 10 games with that artifact, and I found that on average 50%. I mean, there's a bit of a player skill issue here too, but on 50%, when I wanted to use it, I'm like, it's not doing anything because whatever it's like not fighting and living against is now in my backfield, and it's into the guns, it's into another hero, it's killing something else that's valuable to me. What I will say in terms of, so going through like the artifacts and the heroic traits, I prefer using the gauntlets of punishment. It's very very middling. It's very fair Warhammer, but I prefer using it, which is it's just to pick
2
something
up
visible.
D3.
2 up D3, because it just helps you in the shooting phase if you have a problem, right? So if something's near the gun and it's alive on 2 to 3 wounds, or even 5, and you start like spelling it to get mortals on it, it's just that extra chip damage to help dig you out. The Crucible of Spite is good too, where you can give something 3 power points right off the hop, and just it can't take power points for the rest of the game. You'll put that on the Demon Smith here because he heals the artillery or the war machines. So you're essentially healing D3 plus if you give him the power points, and it expands his range out.
So he just gets 3, and he has 3 the entire game.
Nope, it's just
it's
until
just for
you
1 turn?
It's until you recheck your power points. So it's once per battle. He'll get 3. He'll keep the 3 until it flips to your next turn, and then he'll have 0, and he can never have any again.
Right, and you don't. It's not like you pull the points off. The points come from the desolation tokens.
Yeah. So the way
I see.
Yeah, the way the points work is that when it flips to the start of my turn as a Helsmith player, all the points come off. I count up my tokens. I generate points, and I put the points back on. The Army of Renown allows you to keep the points, but there's only one way to generate them. So you're going to have far less points. So if you're playing a normal Helsmith army that's not the Army of Renown, the points will flip off. So that's why it's like the Gauntlets of Punishment is kind of lame, but I use it because it's the most useful out of the few choices I have. Heroic traits, there is one that can kind of catch people out on the heroic traits. I see it about 50% of lists, and it's called Servile Automaton. So essentially, the hero that like it goes on a foot hero, it picks an automaton unit, which is it's not here, but it's the bulls, the mechanical bulls that are walking, either the ones with guns or the maces.
Mm-hmm.
So in deployment phase, you pick one of the bulls within the unit's combat range, so usually an Ashen Elder, to be its buddy. So it's like it becomes the bodyguard. And for the rest of the battle, while the hero and the bull is in combat, both of them have to be in combat. The bodyguard, so the big bull, has strike first, and the infantry has ward 5. And the big bull can fight twice against heroes. So I have seen people put that on the Ashen Elder, go on a flank with one of the bulls that walk, and say, okay, come at me. If you don't shoot me, if you don't get in and get within 12 and shoot me off this thing, then you can have a strike first bull, which is damage 3, probably crit mortals if we get the prayer off on him. That's one case. That's the one I most see commonly of the heroic traits, other than Eye for Weakness. And Eye for Weakness is the most commonly taken one, and that is in my hero phase. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18, and then everything in my army gets +1 to wound in combat. It seems good, but then you realize the only things that really use it are the bull centaurs to make them wound on 2s instead of 3s, and these guys will wound on 3s instead of 4s. So it's okay.
What do you think about the Armies of Renown?
I think that the infantry one So the Uruk-Tar's Warhost one here, I'll pull it up here.
Yeah, Tar's
Is
Grand Forge Host.
yes, the Grand Forge Host. I think that one has play. I've seen lists that have won events with it, and it is a certain style of play. The bull one I don't think has any competitive use because the bulls are very squishy, and you're not getting a lot of the benefits that you want out of the bulls. But I definitely go through the Grand Forge Host here. So if you run into the Grand Forge Host Army of Renown, to start off with, what it is you have to take Uruk-Tar. So you take
Sure.
the leader. You can take any non-Hobgrot infantry. So that 20 Wishbone screen, goodbye. It can't be in there. So you don't have your pre-game screens to start off with. But you take any infantry. So you take the cohorts. They have blades and spears. So you take either blades or spears. You take the shooting guys. There's another shooting unit I haven't talked about here, the flame hurlers. I use them just because I'm trialing them right now. They're not in many lists. They're essentially a 2s, 4s, Ren modulated by points, 12-inch, damage 1. So there's 3 attacks each, and they shoot in combat. So there is a case for like volume of fire of those guys. And then you can take the walking bulls. So like we just talked about the mechanical bulls, you can take those. So it's an infantry-specific force, and what you get out of it. So here's where the weirdness comes in with the Army of Renown, is that the battle trait to generate demonic power points is out of the main army. So you don't have the generate demonic power points battle trait. What you get instead is a battle trait that says it's kind of like an Idnet Deepkin Tide. So in round 2, everything in the army has crit 2 hits. In round 3, +1 to cast enchanting roll army wide, and they're cumulative, so they keep going. Round 4, crit hits on 5s. And round 5, add 1 to the power level of a wizard or priest, which is okay, whatever. It's round 5, so you either won or you lost that point. Now the question is, that's good because it gives your infantry crit 2 hits, critting on 5s at the end of the game. We really love it on the shooting units here. But how do we make them better, right? How do we get the power points to give them render to make them do stuff? So what you do, and what you'll see in this army, is instead of blade cohorts, they'll take spears. And the spear cohort is in the hero phase. If it's contesting an objective it controls, rolls a dice on a 3-up, it creates a power point. And it can hand it out to a unit within a radius. And Games Workshop has come back with a FAQ on it saying the power points that they generate, those spears generate, do not go away turn by turn. So if you ran 2 to 3 spears, sat on 2 to 3 objectives, you could be doing 1 to 2 power points a turn, and you could have 6 to 8 power points to play with by the end of the turn. And then Uruk-Tar is moving them for you. So like the spears generate it, you don't like where it is, Uruk-Tar moves it around.
So weird.
But what else? It's super weird, to be honest. I want to play with it. I don't have that much infantry. Like I'm playing with it on TTS, but what else does it give you? The walking bulls and the Uruk-Tar, they get a ward 6 right off the hop, so they don't need. That kind of mitigates not having that PowerPoint. I did forget they get the artillery as well, which is kind of key. And then the last thing, which is the one like unfair Warhammer thing the whole army has access to, is once per turn army, Helsmith movement phase, 1 CP, pick a friendly infantry unit that's been destroyed, set up a replacement unit, half the models, hold it within 6 of the battlefield edge, more than 9 away. So you can like run your stuff up, get it destroyed, and then regen in the backfield.
Right, any board edge.
Exactly. So that is the one case where the lists I've seen that are successful with the Army of Renowned, they'll take the turn-off commands, they'll take the anti-monster war machine, they'll take probably 3 to 4 of the spears, but only in 10s, and then they'll take a big brick of 20 of these guys, and then they'll take some variants of the shooting, maybe a reinforced blunderbuss, etc. They'll run out, they'll play primary, they'll try and generate as many demonic power points as they can, and then they're going to try for, by battle round 4, to step out with a bunch of shooting infantry or fighting infantry and have crit do hits, crit on 5s, and then kind of finish off with the wave of damage.
It's funny. It seems like that army isn't functioning as intended. Almost, it feels like an oversight.
It does.
It's weird.
So when I first read it, when the Battle Tome came out, I thought, okay, so you trade off the demonic power points for like crit 2 hits and crits on 5s. Kind of sucks, but whatever. And then I looked at the spears. I'm like, I wonder. And I was like, that doesn't seem like they want that to happen. And people in the community were debating it. And then it came out that like, nope, that you can do that. So I honestly, I agree with you, is that it was an oversight. Someone was using it, and then when GW looked at probably the win rates or how people were doing with it, they're like, it doesn't matter. Let them have those PowerPoints staying.
Sure. But like, as long as it's not better than the regular army, you're fine.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's better than the regular army because you don't have access to...
It really shouldn't be. Like, these armies of renown, I think, they by design are supposed to be flavorful, fun, and bad.
Yeah. They, like, giving up the bull centaurs is huge.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you're playing Fair Warhammer includes a hammer that deals with something. And if you don't have the hammer that deals with something, you don't want to be banking on like 1 wound shooting infantry to do the damage.
So focus one, like, be mobile, pin when you can, get into their back line. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, roll 6s.
Roll 6s, yeah, it's too easy, right?
Play an obscuring terrain. I don't know. Again, it's like how to win versus Iron Jaws. Oh, you just kind of do. How to win versus Cruel Boys. You just kind of don't.
Yep.
Like, it's a bad matchup. Gits can be everywhere, right?
Gits is dependent. What I don't want to see when I come up to Gits is a bunch of trolls.
Yeah.
Or Kragnos. What I do want to see is Fanatics and Snarlback.
Yeah, or even like Herd or Bounders, right? Just things that are weak to shooting.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but as soon as it's Trog heavy, then I'm like, I don't have the, especially like, 2 bricks of Rock Gut. I don't have the tools to deal with 2. I have maybe 1. This brick of Centaurs they'll take like 3 Rock Guts in an activation.
Yeah, this is my go-to trolls list right now.
Yeah. See, this is what I look at as an Helsmith player. I'm like, yeah, that's a problem. It's not what I want to see. This takes half of that, and then they're gone in return. And then I'm trying to take 1 to 2 of these. You're out primarying me, and then I'm kind of playing around with shooting. It's not great.
Yeah, and then my little flankers, like my riders and my fanatics, sports spotted fanatics, I'll just hide in obscuring.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? It's like I'm gonna sit on this circle. I'm gonna be obscured, and like, good luck, right?
100%. And that's what I put out a video recently of just kind of walking people through like my thoughts on deployment, like as a Helsmith player, what I do when I kind of set out to look at a battle plan. And number one, other than look like how do I score primary, like how many circles do I have to be standing on, is number 2, where are the places of power and how many things can be obscured and how quickly. Because that is the death to the army here, because it creates those avenues of approach. And like you said, with the fanatics, like I played the opponent I played on the tournament yesterday, he was using them completely properly. He was like moving from obscuring to obscuring, and really the only thing that saved me in part of the game was the random movement wasn't enough to cross the gap to an obscuring, and he had to take a risk at one time. Sure. The risk didn't work out because he had no trolls. But as soon as you add trolls on the list, then it's quite difficult.
Like another sort of one of my other Gits lists is, I'm sure would be way worse. Let's see, where is it? Gits. It's like, it's squig heavy.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'm at this point, I'm just sending all my squigs at you as fast as I possibly can. Right?
100%.
And then hope maybe the bounders can stay obscured the first round while the herd goes in, and then the bounders maybe will fly and try to hit something in the back. But that's like the best I can do.
Yeah, I believe, like we've talked about here, like Destruction has a very good matchup across most armies that you have access to. In even like Sons of Behemoth, not so much, but
Yeah, no.
the ogres for sure. Ogres is similar, right? A lot of wounds for me to chew through before it's like in my face immediately. Um, I don't like playing into Destruction, the Helsmith player, unless it's like I haven't played Cruel Boys, but I look at the Cruel Boys matchup, I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
like
your
playing
best one. Yeah.
into. I honestly like playing into a bunch of chaos. To be honest, other chaos I'm fine with, and about half of order I'm okay with, except for the tricky parts of order.
So, did you want to give your YouTube stuff a plug? Like, what kind of videos are you like? What kind of content do you make? What kind of stuff do you have planned going forward?
Yeah, sure. So I've started a channel. It's called Forged by Failure. Like I alluded to at the start of the conversation today, I am by no means a pro, but I am a guy that is investing a lot of time in trying to get better. Warhammer, specifically Age of Sigmar. I came into Age of Sigmar a year ago. I played 40k before that, and my entire friend group converted over to Age of Sigmar, and I just went with them, and I've had a blast ever since. So I've kind of got to that stage in my involvement in the hobby where I figured I want to get talking and interacting with other people. I really love the army. I picked the army up in the fall for the Helsmiths, so I figured, hey, I put out a YouTube channel kind of documenting my journey. But also, when I find, like we talked about, you kind of got you got to get every little bit of efficiency of the army. So when I find something that I think is good, I'll throw up a little video on YouTube. Right now, it's kind of bouncing all over the place. I will do the occasional list review of winning lists, but the meta has settled for us for the most part. Like what I talked about, there's about 3 or 4 core units, and it's just a variation on a theme. How many you take? I will take requests, like in the Helsmiths subreddit. People ask me for a 1K starter list video, so I put that out on how to start the army, how to collect it, and then I talk about deployment tricks, things of that nature. What do I have planned? I'm gonna try and put out a video a week. It's gonna be different topics every week. Like you said, some weeks I'll go to an event. So like this week, I'm probably going to talk about my previous event. So I went 2-1 this week at RTT. So I'll talk about what was a good matchup, what was a bad matchup, how things went. And then other weeks when I'm not playing or not going somewhere, it'll probably be like War Scroll deep dives, efficiency dives. I do like getting into the math. I haven't put out videos with the math yet, but I will get into that.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing.
Nerds love the math.
Nerds love the math.
They do.
But I have to be careful with it, but because I am by no means a good guy with math.
Oh no,
I would prefer.
Have you seen my stuff? Have you seen my math? Let me see. maybe you'll get a kick out of it. I just linked it to you here. Check it out later. It's just like, yeah. Everybody loves math.
And the other thing I'm a part of is this other podcast called Average Homies of Sigmar, which is just a chatting podcast. So me and my friends just talk about the hobby at large. It's no specific faction. It's just talking about painting, event etiquette, stuff like that. But yeah, if you're interested in engaging on Helsmith content, Forged by Failure, I'm going to have a lot of Helsmith content coming out. My plan over in the next couple of months is I'm taking them to a GT at the start of March, and I probably got, before the end of August, I got about 4 GTs lined up for the army.
Wow, that's a lot.
We're going to go through. Yeah, I've been fairly fortunate that where I'm at in Alberta, the scene died for about 6 months in terms of competitive play. There was like the occasional RTT, but there's a guy, Age of Canuck is his alias online.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Rebuild. Yeah. So he started to really rebuild the community and to get a bunch of events out, and we're starting to coordinate now with the guys in southern Alberta, so they're kind of spacing the events out so people can get to them. So I'm gonna, over the next couple of months, if you're interested in Helsmith, drop on by the channel. If you want to engage, put some comments in there. Always read the comments, always respond. It's a very small little community right now, so it's not a lot of people like playing fair Warhammer, and I'm going to warn you, if you're listening to this. I'm going to warn you, if you listen to this and you want to pick up Helsmiths, it's got to be like right now, until something changes, it's got to be a labor of love, and you've got to be prepared for your opponent to be like, wow, that was kind of underwhelming. You got to really play good to get, get points
Well, you
out of
can't
this. I'm
make,
like,
if you
yes,
make mistakes, right? Like if you fail to score,
100%.
if you fail to,
Yeah.
if you, like
Yeah.
you'll just lose to
There's
your
no getting
opponent's gotchas.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time.
That's about it. Playing.
I learned
you.
quite a bit, right? So I appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out. Gotta show some love. Go support his channel. Like, subscribe. Wow.